Like, what was I like as like a kid?
You were a typical boy, Christopher. You were into everything.
Yeah.
What boys are into, climbing trees. You were on the go constantly. If you were around at grandma and granddad's, you never had 2 minutes to rest. But you didn't.
Yeah, I've been watching them videos recently.
And
just don't stop.
You didn't stop. But granddad didn't want you just to stop.
Well, granddad didn't stop ever either.
No, granddad didn't stop. And that's where he got his name, Grandad Dalek, because he permanently had that camcorder stuck to his face when you were there. Even when you weren't there and they go out for a walk, he'd still, that's how he got his name. So you were a typical, for me, you were a typical child. Working with kids, you know what a typical child is. You weren't into your football, but not all boys are.
No.
You liked your basketball.
Yeah, only when I was in like high school though.
You didn't get into football till way
I never
later
really
on.
got into football, to be honest.
And then you had to go and support that team.
Yeah.
You soon changed your mind. Now you're with the proper team.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, you get up to mischief. But you were a boy. Boys did that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was very strange for having a boy because we're all girls. And if Gaynor or Dad didn't have Tom, you would have been the first boy born in the family for like 25 years. So it's all girls.
Yeah.
So to have a boy, it was a bit of a shock. I'm not going to lie. It was a bit of a shock, but you know, you were right.
I'm sensitive like a girl, though, aren't I?
You're very sensitive like a girl, yeah. But like, again, that's not a bad thing.
No. I know it's not now.
I'd rather somebody show emotions than bottle it all up, because bottling everything up doesn't work.
Yeah, but I think
doesn't work. And when you jumped off that trampoline, I jumped off that shed onto the trampoline and then snapped your ankle.
I didn't jump off the shed.
No, you did a somersault.
No, I didn't even do a somersault.
No,
I just landed and someone was sat.
You bounced up and down and your foot went one way and you went the other. And you asked for your mum.
Yeah, I've always come to you.
You have always come to me. Over everything. We have got a good relationship. We are very close.
Yeah.
And I just hope that continues.
It will continue, obviously it will. 100%.
But I'm super proud of what you've achieved.
Thank you.
Super proud of you.
It's been a mad, like, obviously I'm 31 now, which is weird.
Tell me about it.
When I was like 16, I never even, I used to say I want to live to see 30.
No. But you went down the wrong track and you mixed with some.
No, it's not that. It's just that, like, I know how you see it, like, you think, oh, you mix with the wrong people, this, that, and the other. I was just trying to fit in. I was trying to fit in with everybody.
And it doesn't work.
And it doesn't work. And obviously, with now knowing I've got ADHD, I was just trying to people please with everyone. I had that many friends, and.
But were they friends?
No, look how many friends I've got now. I can count all my friends on one hand.
Your true friend is your best friend, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So one Mike.
And Michael,
He's family now. He's family anyway, so.
Yeah.
But Ryan.
Yeah, I've been close. I'm always going to be close to Ryan.
Ryan's been at our house, 6 weeks old days, goes home for 2 days, comes back.
Like, you know when I used to have like meltdowns and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, they'd just come out of nowhere, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would just come out of nowhere.
If you look back now, do you think they did?
Sometimes. But again, sometimes I used to think you didn't like the word no.
Still don't.
No children like the word no.
Yeah,
but sometimes no should have been enough, and it wasn't. And I think when you've got your own kids, I think that's when you'll realise.
Yeah, I know, but like no to me is like, it's just like as if I'm being told off, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I completely understand that. But when you go in towards the fire and I'm like, no. And then you go towards the fire and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Then you go towards the fire, or when you bite, because you went through a stage when you were little biting. And the person who used to bite the most was me. And that all stopped when I bit your back.
Yeah. And
that stopped.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're not the only child, Christopher. Brittany was the same. Brittany didn't like the word no. And you used to play your dad and I off against each other. Because I'd say no, and your dad would say yes. Yeah. And that used to really frustrate me. Because it just made me to be the bad guy all the time. And I wasn't being the bad guy. I was saying no for a reason. There was a reason for me not, you know.
But as a kid, you don't really understand that, do you?
No, you know, you had a meltdown in TJ Uses in Chester. You threw yourself on the floor because I told you no to an ice cream because you wanted an ice cream and we hadn't had lunch. So I said no.
Yeah.
I said, and I nearly ended up punching some woman because we ended up having a big row because you were having a fit on the floor. And I'm like, really? It's because he wants ice cream. Let him have ice cream. No.
Yeah. I don't know why people have to get involved in your businesses and that.
Because people think they're trying to help and sometimes they're not.
Yeah, but people have to stick the nose in. Like,
Yes,
people are
they
so
do.
Yeah, busybodies. I just can't be. Like, there's a reason. Like, obviously, you're doing your best as a parent and stuff like that. So just leave them to it, because you interfering ain't going to help. You know what I mean? And obviously, with people with ADHD and like autism and stuff, there's a reason the child's having a meltdown. For you to stick your fucking
oar in,
and to
you see,
like,
TJ again, another one TJ Uses would be up in the canteen, staff canteen, with Mr. O because he loved you, and you'd trip off. I should have thought then.
But that wasn't like.
But you never liked clothes.
No. How many holes in my? They used to put
quite
holes
a
in my socks.
few holes in your socks, or you come home and instead of going to the toilet, you go in the grid. But you did that a lot, especially if you were playing outside and it was summer.
It's because I didn't want to miss out.
You were frightened of missing out.
Yeah.
But you weren't, you know.
And you know
you
what?
didn't underachieve.
No. Well, but I didn't underachieve in school. But when I come home, that's when I was naughty.
Yeah, but to be fair, Christopher, 98% of the population of kids are like that.
No.
Not all kids misbehave in school, but they can be little rats when they get home.
Yeah, but that's obviously a massive sign of me masking and trying to fit in and conform to all these how school works and stuff like that. And then obviously it's so overwhelming and so exhausting for me. I can't keep the mask on. And obviously home was my safe place.
Home was your safe place.
And obviously I've only ever had meltdowns in front of people I care about the most.
Yeah.
Obviously ex-girlfriends. Like, you see me angry loads, you know what I mean? Like, I've put a crutch through the wall, I've put my fists through walls.
Yeah.
And it's always been over girlfriends.
Yeah.
Because I've put these girls on pedestals. And I've had fights with dad over girls.
Yeah.
And it's always been in relationships. But I'm looking back, I'm just like, there's obviously a reason, because like this person was like everything to me. It's like my favourite person, to do with borderline personality disorder. And not they couldn't do any wrong, and everyone else was like a threat. But then when they didn't live up to my expectations, like every human doesn't, you know what I mean? Like they're a human at the end of the day. Like, that's when I thought people are rejecting me or people are abandoning me. But even before girlfriends, it was like, if I get shouted at, I thought you or dad were leaving me, or obviously getting bullied in school and stuff. I thought like if Ryan or whoever wouldn't answer the house phone when I wanted to play out, I'd feel rejected. And that's when my anxiety would kick in.
Yeah, I understand that.
And it's like, it's mad. Like, obviously everything falls into place and everything does make sense. It's just like, I've done some shit. Like, obviously I got arrested a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the first time
I broke my heart.
Yeah. And that was because two people I was like hanging around with were arguing. I just didn't like confrontation between people I cared about. And obviously I snapped the window wiper off a car. I don't know why, but I felt, looking back now, I feel like I had to this name. Like, I had the nickname Mad Dog, and I feel like I had the Mad Dog name to live up to.
Yeah.
And it's just a load of shit.
Yeah, it is. So you were known as Mad Dog.
Yeah, I've been known as Mad Dog for years.
See, I was bullied through school, so I was the complete opposite. I was quite timid and quite shy, and I became more, not hard.
Yeah, externally hard.
Yeah.
Things didn't affect you as much.
No, because I wouldn't let it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let it affect me.
Yeah.
I've done counselling.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing going to counselling. You've done counselling after your breast cancer, didn't you?
I did, 12 months after. I had a complete meltdown, didn't I?
It's not.
But that's understandable.
Thing. Yeah, 100%. It's not a bad thing having a meltdown. No. It's not a bad thing having counselling. Like, doesn't make you weak or anything like that.
No, it doesn't.
It means you're trying to better yourself, and that's people.
I reached out for help.
Yeah,
I needed the help.
Best thing to do.
Yeah, and I got the help that I needed. Well, sort of. COVID had hit, so it was a bit weird over the phone.
I think COVID changed a lot of people. I think I despise people not at the moment, but since COVID, people have seemed to have forgot the manners, and people are very, very selfish. And obviously you work in retail, so you probably see it more. People are just rude now. Yeah.
Very rude.
It's just
and especially when they're in on, or they come to the till and they're talking to whoever on the mobile phone, and there's no please or thank yous.
Yeah.
It's one of my pet hates.
Yeah, it costs
Because-
nothing for manage. Do you
No.
know what I mean? But don't get me
And I
wrong.
was-
Like I've been a shit over the years.
Yes, but Christopher, you've always had your manners, and that's
Yeah.
all. You know, as long as I think I've brought you up correctly,
Yeah.
and you have got your manners. You know how to say please, and you know how to say thank you. Then, as far as I'm concerned, my job is done.
Yeah.
Because I brought you up that way to do your P's and Q's. Because, like you say, they cost nothing.
No, absolutely nothing.
You know, my parents brought me up that way, P's and Q's. In fact, my nan and granddad, remember, they wouldn't, love used to take us three out because we'd sit at a table and eat our food and use a knife and fork and wouldn't run round.
Yeah. You know what's mad? Like looking back on talking about eating now. Remember, I never used to eat McDonald's chips.
No, you wouldn't.
And I never used to eat the chicken nuggets without the batter.
Yes, I was talking about that the other day, believe it or not, to a customer.
And Blue Smarties.
I had to take the Blue Smarties out because they used to have a Q hypo. And you used to like your Smarties, and I'd buy you a packet, and then I'd like go, just wait a minute, and I'd take every single blue one. Or you were in America and we'd have blue for your birthday, and you had that blue icing cake because you was into your wrestling, and 2 minutes later you were a hypo. No, it's blue icing. No. Anything blue, and that was all your E numbers, but there's not as many E numbers in things anymore.
No, but looking back on that, that's like obvious, isn't it? And obviously being on the go all the time with Grandad.
Yeah.
And
you never sat still, Grandad.
It was like all or nothing a little bit with schoolwork as well, wasn't it? It was like if I enjoyed it.
If you enjoyed it, you get on with it. But I was like that in school. If I enjoyed, I love music. I can't play a piano. I can't play a musical instrument, but I like the teacher.
Yeah. It always helps.
I loved French. I had Mrs. Temple for French. I loved French. Yeah. I didn't take it any further.
I hated business studies. I didn't get on with my business studies. She told me I was going to work at McDonald's, and now I've got my own business.
Correct. But there was teachers that when I was at school that I didn't like. So I didn't excel because I found some of the lessons boring. Maths, I loved maths.
Yeah.
But again, I like the teacher. Do I use half of the maths now? No. It's all done for me.
Yeah, it's mad the world we live in now, to be fair. Like, remember, what were some of the questions that you got asked? Remember when I got them questionnaires?
Did you ever sky from school? And that's why I rang you, because...
I don't think I ever did sky from school.
I don't think... when I asked you and I told you need to be open and honest, you told me no, you hadn't. Yeah. I was like, right, okay, because you're open and honest. When I ask you to be open and honest, you're open and honest. But I know when you're lying. I know when both of you are lying. It's quite funny. I'm not going to tell you what I know, because I'll just give it away. But I know when you're both lying. I don't lie
anymore. There's no need to lie. You get found out in the end.
Correct. It's pointless, isn't it?
What's some more of the questions?
Did you ever start a fight?
No.
And you said you used to walk away when there was a fight.
Yeah, I never was into confrontation and stuff. And I think it was because I was so scared of how I could get. I'd probably end up killing someone. Literally.
Did you struggle with reading? You just didn't like reading again? That's a boy thing.
It's not a boy thing. You're saying all this, it's not. It's not a boy thing that you're in the mentality where it's a boy thing or all kids do that. No, they don't. You've got to have a look at the look at the bigger picture a little bit.
Brittany doesn't like reading. I love reading. Your dad doesn't read.
Brittany reads more than me. Honestly,
your dad doesn't.
Well, Dad's got ADHD. 100% Dad's got ADHD. I can guarantee it. I'd put my life on it.
Yeah, your dad doesn't read. I love reading. I'll read when I'm on holiday. I'll read 4 or 5 books a week.
Yeah.
Depends on whether I can get into it. If I can't get into it, then the book goes.
Yeah.
But if I get into a book, I'll read forever. I love reading. But you ask any teacher, especially English, will say boys don't tend to read more than girls.
Yeah.
You would read a comic.
Well, it's got pictures on. I'd probably just look at the pictures, to be honest.
Or you would read anything to do with killer whales.
Yeah. And it's now
because you were obsessed with them. Yeah, you still are, but you're not as obsessed.
Yeah, well, probably because I know everything about them. But I'm now obsessed with ADHD and finding me and figuring out how my mind ticks. Dad annoyed me the other day when I come around. He was like, "All you talk about is your ADHD." I was like, "Well, yeah, because I'm trying to figure out the last 29 years of my life. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to help other people understand, and obviously you and Dad and Brittany and all that."
Yeah.
And granted, it's not an excuse. I'll never ever use it as an excuse. It's a reason now. I'm looking back on, obviously, with the rejection sensitive dysphoria and the sensory processing disorder and stuff with the holes in your socks and stuff like that. Hence why I started Attentive. But there's so many things, like even noise and like busy places and loud places. I don't like them, but I knew that before. years ago. I knew that when I was like 20, 21.
Yeah, but, again, that makes me laugh because bombing night and fireworks you used to love.
Yeah, but it's light since like that's stimulant,
It's
isn't it?
Brittany Yates.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is weird. It's weird how your mind works with different conditions.
Yeah, I don't know when. Obviously, I developed borderline personality disorder, but it must have been when I was like 14, 15, I reckon.
You were, I mean, your granddad used to call you Jekyll and Hyde.
Oh, and I still call myself Jekyll and Hyde. Like, I haven't had a meltdown for a very long time. Obviously, my tablets are really, really helping.
You know, Christmas one year, we go round to your nan and granddad's Boxing Day. Your granddad would come and pick us up. We'd go round there. You'd be all excited because you have all these presents, and then 2 seconds later, the pair of you would just flip.
But why is that? Because the dopamine's gone because I've opened all my presents.
But you and Brittany would both flip.
Maybe Brittany's got ADHD as well.
And then you'd start fighting with each other, and you start bickering with each other.
But that's a way of, that's a dopamine rush for us. Or we start arguing with people because we're bored. You know what I mean? Well, no, that's a fact.
I mean, kids do. I mean, Christmas is a bit overwhelming.
I hate Christmas because it's boring. Because there's nothing to do. I feel trapped. And that's what COVID made me feel like.
I didn't like COVID.
Oh, I don't think anyone liked COVID. But fortunately, I was in work at loads.
Yeah, you could go to work. I couldn't. I was 12 weeks stuck here.
Oh. But like, what's the difference between, say, I don't know, 2 years ago and now with me?
2 years ago, you were getting into trouble. A lot. Was you still doing the drugs 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were still drinking quite a lot.
Massive amounts. Yeah.
Do
you know why I used to do drugs?
No.
Because it made my mind quiet. So basically it was like, it's a stimulant medication. It's a stimulant drug, in it.
Yep.
So that made me feel normal. That was me self-medicating because I didn't know I had ADHD. So it made my mind quiet and it made me feel chilled.
I was worried when you were drinking the amount of drinking.
Well, I was going out all the time.
But you were out. And if you weren't out, you were having people around the house all the time.
Yeah. It was party central for me.
Yeah, it was.
And it was like, it was my way of fitting in and wanting to just be involved. And then it was like every night was party night. Like it was be a Tuesday night, I'd be at the pub and I'd end up going back to Simon's till like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. So now you're a lot calmer.
I'm like a different person.
You're not as, I mean, you're still spontaneous in some things.
Yeah, but that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. It keeps.
Depends how you look at it.
What do you mean? Well, what spontaneous things to do? Getting a dog.
Well, yeah.
I just do things for when I make it work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can understand that, but then I just think Ronnie ain't gonna like this dog.
He will. He's for tiny. He'd be tiny. I reckon Ronnie would be the one who takes doing the most eventually. I'm off for 2 weeks when I get him.
Oh, right, okay. That's okay.
I took time off work. I just think right now where my head is, it's just the right time for me to get a dog again.
I mean, you've come a long way from 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say you have come a long way. You are a lot calmer. I don't dread the police knocking on my door now.
The police will never knock on your door again.
I used to dread the police knocking on my door.
What, saying I'm dead?
Yeah. We found a body and we think it's your son. Yeah. That was my worst.
Because of speeding or drugs and alcohol and everything.
Everything. Everything.
Yeah, that's not going to happen though.
That was my worst nightmare. And the last time he got arrested. And then obviously I'd had the big argument with Brittany as well. I broke my heart to your dad and asked where I went wrong.
Yeah, that's another thing. When I got diagnosed, like, you and Dad were like, we loved you all up, like you, and I'm like, it's not because I've had a bad upbringing. Like, I've always had it.
Yeah, you have.
I've had it.
You probably have,
for years. Like, no, it's not even. No, and you don't just get it. You're born with it.
We've not. And I've not picked up.
Yeah, but you didn't know.
No, I didn't.
Back then, it was the naughty boy in school.
Yeah, but Christopher, I worked with kids for 18 years.
Matter.
But I think it's because you were constantly on the go.
Mum, there's doctors who don't even understand ADHD.
Yeah. But
so
you were on the go.
Yourself.
You were on the go all the time, even with your granddad or with grandma. Yeah. You were on the go constantly. So
100%.
I wouldn't have
No one would have picked. No one's picked it up.
I
Look,
wouldn't have picked
it's
that up
hindsight
anyway.
looking back now. You're like, bloody hell, it was obvious, but it wasn't obvious back then.
But I did used to blame myself when you got arrested, or me and Brittany would have a big row, and you'd sort of close off to everybody in the whole world. I used to blame myself. I broke my heart to your dad the last time you got arrested, and I'd had that big blowout with Brittany where I had gone wrong, and I was blaming me. And your dad was like, "It's not your fault," but as a mother, you do think it's your fault.
Yeah, it's not your fault. It's no one's fault.
No, it's not.
No one's fault.
But I can say that now, Christopher. But then I couldn't.
100%. 100%. It's not your fault at all. It's no one's fault. And fortunately, I've picked it up. Do you know what I mean? Might have been 29, but it's still been picked up.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been through some shit.
Yeah.
I can't even remember how many relationships with different people so quickly after one another.
Very quickly.
Like, it's insane.
Yes, it is.
But again, I'd like fall for these people.
But then we knew, but we couldn't tell you whether they were right or wrong for you.
No, because that person, that moment was like everything to me.
You put them on a pedestal, so we couldn't knock them off that pedestal, no matter how we tried.
No, and that's my borderline personality disorder.
But I knew whether they were right for you, and unfortunately, no one's right for you anyway. You're my son. That's the way it goes, isn't it? But you're a lot happier within yourself than you were 2 years ago.
I feel well chilled. Like I've got a purpose in life now.
We're sat here, we're just chit-chatting away, and you're not itchy to go.
Well, I've noticed that massively.
You're not itching, you need to go, or you need to do something else. You can't just sit here, you've got to do something else now.
Since my tablets, so that. Like, even when I started my Elvance, I was still like, I still move my foot up and down. It's just a stimming thing, but I was like, I'm fidgeting, and I'm like, I want to do something else. But that's obviously with it being like an amphetamine, like it makes you want to do things. It gives you the motivation. Whereas these other ones, this venlafaxine, is like an SNRI, which is like an antidepressant, and it just chills me out.
Yeah.
But I've still got the motivation to do stuff. Like I could switch the camera off now, come and sit with you and Dad, and then go and carry on doing the other stuff. I've never been able to do that.
No.
Because I know I'm always on the go, and if I stop, I'll crash, or I'll sit in my head, or I'll start procrastinating.
But even us just sitting here now talking.
Yeah. I am more chilled out. Well, more chilled out.
You would be either up, walking around, doing something, or within like 2 minutes you'll be like, I'm going now.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, okay. But you are a lot more chilled.
Yeah.
And I like this, Christopher. Because you actually stay.
I like this, Christopher, as well.
Good.
But I think I've just found me, and I'm not trying to impress or please or anything. Because that's what another thing I've tried to do, is just impress people.
It doesn't work.
Over the years.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't work. Doesn't matter how much money you've got, babe.
Well, I don't have any money. I don't.
But it doesn't matter how much you get paid.
Yeah. No, I know.
You weren't happy.
No, I know I wasn't. And that proves that money doesn't buy happiness.
No.
It doesn't matter how much money you've got.
No. Money's not everything.
I earn, like, over the years, a shitload of money. And I've probably been the most miserable when I've been earning that money. Probably one, because I'm constantly burnt out and I'm always at work. Two, I'm buying things for people who probably don't appreciate shit half the time. And I'm trying to fit in with people, and I'm doing other things, and they're just not working. I haven't drank for over a year now. No. So 21st of October was like my year of not drinking. I literally haven't touched a drop of alcohol.
Good on you. You feel better for it?
Well better. Well better. Like, there's been times where I've gone back to the other shit, like this year, but like 3-4 times. But that's when I've been really, really low, and I've been like up and down, and I've been burnt out. You know what I mean?
Right, because you were doing too much at work.
I was doing too much at work, or I was just in one of them.
And what did your mother say to you?
Yeah, no, yeah. But I don't listen to anyone else.
No, you don't.
But that's another thing, like, people have been like, oh, you're a mummy's boy. I'm like, yeah, I am a mummy's boy, but I'm not a typical mummy's boy, because you can't tell me what to do. No. Nobody will tell me what to do. We've never
tried to tell you what to do.
No, and you've always let me live my own life and find out things.
I can advise you.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that I have been able to advise you with things. The only time that you were told what to do was bedtime. Bedtime. Because my time was my time, and it was your bedtime. And then, but you go in the bath, you
I've always liked the bath though, isn't it?
Yeah, you have.
I can't have a shower. I hate them.
I don't mind. I prefer. I like a bath. If I'm feeling a bit achy and wakey, I'll have a bath. But I don't mind having a shower. I prefer a shower because it's quick.
I don't know whether it's the sensory side of it.
Could be
I don't like the things hitting me.
hitting you.
I don't know why I used to put my sandwiches in my pocket. I still haven't worked that out.
Have you not? I could probably tell you why.
Why?
Because you were too busy playing.
Yeah.
And then if you called in to eat your sandwiches, if and people were either going back out to play.
Yeah, I was rushing to get out again.
You wanted to go out to play.
That makes sense, actually.
So the dinner ladies used to keep an eye on you because you used to come home with most of your lunch. So I went in then to ask them to keep an eye on you, and they did. But then you grew wise and put your sandwiches in your pocket.
Clever.
Because then it looked as if you'd eaten your lunch.
Apart from I had two big bulging pockets.
But with your jumper, one could tell. And then you have
not
a
that
coat.
Clever though, because I could have just put them in the bin. And just left them in.
No, because they would have known you were going towards the bin.
No, but I meant outside.
Yeah, but you didn't. You left them in your pocket. But then didn't tell me that. And I don't check pockets. I should do because I have found quite a bit of money in pockets before now. But I never used, and I'll be like, what the hell's going on in my washing machine? And there'd be your soggy sandwiches going around to me. So the whole washing had to come back out then. Again, the whole washing machine had to be washed. And then everything had to be put back in again. Really?
Holes in my t-shirts.
Holes in your t-shirts, your
ripping
socks.
Labels out.
Labels. To be fair, some labels I rip out anyway because they tickle my neck and it irritates me.
But for me, it's like, it makes me angry.
No, you just sit there doing this. Yeah. But yeah, I'd be like, what are you doing with your socks? Going through hundreds of pairs of socks. Every 2 minutes we were buying socks. But yeah, you like to be out. You like to be out and about with your mates. You're not a home bird.
No. Well, I'm not, but I am. I don't think I could move away.
Oh, no.
Like move abroad or something. I don't think I could do that.
No.
I think that would just be too much for me. I like the ability to come home, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I say I'm not a home bird. I like to be out and about, but I like to be also, I didn't we went out for a walk, but I didn't go up out of bed till gone 10.
Yeah, but you've been like that since you started your medication, haven't you?
Yeah, but, being on the medication that I'm on has put me through the early menopause anyway, so, and I can't take anything for it, so,
Just got to get on with it.
I have got to get on with it, and I am getting on with it. So, I'll find out come February for my last mammogram next year.
What, is that all done then?
5 years, yeah.
And then they stop testing.
I think these every 3 years it'll be after that, and then find out what they want me to do with my medication. Don't know whether they're staying on it again.
Antidepressants?
No, tamoxifen, and that's to stop the cancer from coming back.
How is it?
Yeah. So I don't know whether it because of my age, because I wasn't menopausal or anything, so they have to put you on tamoxifen. So whether they put me on something else, don't know, or whether they just leave me on the tamoxifen, or they just say, right.
I don't know, I'm sure they'll explain.
Come off, yeah. I'm sure they'll explain everything to me.